I realized as well that we talked about the 5 keys, but did we say what they are?
No, we didn't.
Okay, we should.
That might be important.
That's a pretty important thing. Okay, so the 5 keys are communication, connection, desire, pleasure, and exploration. And in general, we tend to find that you have to go through them in that order.
Yeah, if you're starting from scratch, I mean, if we were starting to coach a new couple in a brand new relationship, we would start from communication and go all the way through exploration.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to the Pillow Talks podcast. We're your hosts, Vanessa
and Xander Marin.
I'm a sex therapist with over 20 years of experience.
And I'm just a regular dude. We share the ups and downs in our relationship while giving you step-by-step techniques for improving yours.
Make sure you subscribe for your weekly double date full of totally doable sex tips, practical relationship advice, hilarious and honest stories of what really goes on behind closed bedroom doors, and so much more. It's the sex education you wish you'd had. I am so excited for today's episode. We are doing something brand new that we have never done before.
Oh, yeah.
That I think is going to be amazing.
I think so too.
I hope so.
I think it's going to be amazing for the people that we're helping, but I think for everybody listening, this is going to be so cool.
So what we are doing is we are going to be coaching real couples through the challenges in their sex lives and relationships. And we are going to be able
on the podcast.
Well, not fully live. They're not here like in person. It's just us in our little recording studio.
We are live on the podcast.
Live, but we have stories from these couples, and most importantly, we have voice notes from these couples. Mm-hmm. I have to tell you, I listened to these voice notes for the first time when I was driving to an appointment, and I got chills.
The shivers. The chilly willies.
The chilly willies. No, I was like, this is going to be so cool just to be able to hear real people talk about their relationship, their challenges, their sex life, like in their own words. It was so fascinating to listen to. And I knew our audience was just going to be totally fascinated to hear these stories too. So first, I just want to say, before we share the stories, I just want to send so many props and thank yous and congratulations to these 3 people. We have 2 individual people and 1 couple, which I'm dying to get into. So I want to thank them because this takes an incredible amount of bravery. And we've done stuff to like conceal their identities. We're not using names, anything like that. We want there to be privacy. But at the same time, like, it's still a really vulnerable thing. Like, to even share your story in the voice note and send it to us, that's very vulnerable.
Yeah.
And a couple of people, I think, even said like, wow, this is crazy. Like, this feels really strange to do. So I think just being willing to send it to us was a big deal, but also being willing to allow us to use this in the podcast is such a gift that these people have given to our entire community, that we can all together like hear their stories, know that we are not alone, be able to hear our advice and feedback and guidance. Like, these stories are not going to be the exact same as what's going on in your relationship, but I'm willing to bet that anybody listening will resonate with at least one dynamic, if not many dynamics. So I think it's going to be fascinating to listen to and ultimately really helpful too.
And definitely stay tuned all the way until the end, because if you like what we're doing in this episode, you're going to like the announcement that we have coming for you at the end of this episode. Something very exciting to tell you about. But first, let's talk about reviews, because reviews are so helpful to our podcast. We got to get people to listen to our podcast so that we can tell them cool stuff and have cool episodes for them. And one of the best ways to get people to know this is a legit, awesome, amazing, life-changing podcast is by seeing your reviews when they go look at our podcast page. In fact, we love reviews so much that we pick a review every single week as our Review of the Week winner. And if you win, you get a free masterclass from us just to say thank you. So if you hear your review read, that means that you've won. And all you have to do is email us at info@vmtherapy.com or DM us on Instagram, and we'll send you your masterclass. And if you want to leave a review so that you can be entered to win for life, all you got to do is go to the main Pillow Talks page on Apple Podcasts, scroll all the way to the bottom, smash those 5 stars, and then just leave us a couple sentences saying why you love Pillow Talks. All right, so this week's review of the week. Truly the sex ed you wish you'd had. As a woman who's working through embarrassment and insecurity around sex, even with my husband, who I've been with for 13 years, Vanessa and Xander helped start that journey for me. They take the shame and embarrassment out of all the topics they discuss, really focus on communication and pleasure for all. I love that they are so accepting of everyone and are so genuine. It truly is a sex education you wish you had.
Let's tell you about something that has been used in our household every single day since we received them.
Sometimes multiple times a day.
And that is Good Wipes, the absolute best wipes your booty has ever seen. Do you think your booty sees it, or it just feels it? The best wipes your booty has ever felt.
I mean, I see them before I use them on my booty, so in a way my booty kind of does see. It knows what's coming.
Good Wipes creates premium wipes that deliver a superior clean that no dry, crumbly toilet paper can match. And I am super picky about the ingredients that I put on my skin, so I was really excited to see that all of their wipes are made with soothing botanicals. They're naturally scented, hypoallergenic ingredients like aloe, vitamin E, chamomile. They're really gentle, and they have some great scents. I like the rose water and lavender. Xander's been into the cedar and
I love it.
The shea cocoa as well. So if you want to upgrade your restroom ritual, you can grab Good Wipes at Target, Walmart, Kroger, and most local grocery stores. And as a special offer for Pillow Talks listeners, Good Wipes is giving you your first pack for free.
Wow, that's a great deal.
Yeah, buy any package, text them your receipt, and get reimbursed almost immediately. For more details, head to goodwipes.com/pillowtalks. Again, that's goodwipes.com/pillowtalks to snag a free pack of Good Wipes. Okay, so let's get into our submission. So what we did is we turned to our Instagram community. If you're not following us there, you definitely should. We're at Vanessa and Xander. But we asked people, tell us about what's going on in your relationship, what feels difficult or complicated about your sex life, about intimacy. And we said we were going to do an episode where we really try to like deep dive and break things down. These stories are so interesting. They're so different, yet there are a lot of key similarities too. And what we decided to do is analyze these situations with our unique methodology, which we call the 5 keys to everyday intimacy. If you're familiar with our book, Sex Talks, these are like the 5 essential conversations that we go over as well. It's just this methodology that we've created after working with thousands and thousands of couples and really trying to hone in on what are the key components of intimacy? What are the pillars, the foundations of intimacy that we all need to focus on?
Yeah, what are the keys to having the intimacy that you want? And I think, one of the challenges that, I'm sure most people who have tried working on their relationship, have been to couples therapy, is that often, you talk about a lot of different things in a session and you might come away with a lot of different things in a lot of different areas that you need to work on. And honestly, it can be really challenging when you're trying to okay, well, all right, so there was this communication thing I have to keep in mind. And then there was this thing that we talked about when it came to how we were going to initiate sex. And then there was some stuff around orgasmic timing and technique. And it's just hard to keep it all in mind and actually make progress when you're trying to work on all these different things in all these different areas. And so what we really like to try to do is figure out, okay, yeah, of course, everyone could stand to improve in a variety of areas, but let's identify the one area that is holding you back the most, or the one area where a little bit of progress is going to give you the most immediate results. And we start there so that it doesn't feel overwhelming and so that we can give you some really tangible steps to take to really fire up the intimacy in your relationship.
Okay, so let's start with our couple.
Ooh.
So this is a male-female couple. They've been together for about 20 years. They are parents of 3 kids. And the main issue that they brought up initially, so this was how it worked. People sent in a little email description, and then we sent them back follow-up questions. And we sent the same follow-up questions to all the people. So in their initial email, they said that frequency is an issue, they can go months without sex. she has a higher sex drive than he does. And she can often feel like his desire controls whether or not they're going to have sex.
Yeah, the overall pace of things.
Yeah. And a lot of times for him, it's like kind of mental headspace. He's really stressed or really tired. And she's been struggling a lot with rejection. Like she does try to put herself out there and initiate, and it feels really challenging when she gets rejected. So that was their initial little intake. So here were the follow-up questions that we asked. Tell us about the intimacy in your relationship overall. Tell us about an average sexual experience. What problems or issues do you have with your sex life? What do you want to change? What have you already tried to fix things? What does your ideal sex life look like? And also, like, just do you have any other questions for us? I realized as well that we talked about the 5 keys, but did we say what they are?
No, we didn't.
Okay, we should.
That might be important.
That's a pretty important thing. Okay, so the 5 keys are communication, connection, desire, pleasure, and exploration. And in general, we tend to find that you have to go through them in that order.
Yeah, if you're starting from scratch, I mean, if we were starting to coach a new couple in a brand new relationship, we would start from communication and go all the way through exploration.
Yeah.
Now, the reality is when you are almost 20 years into a relationship, you're going to be stronger and, have room to grow, stronger in some areas and have more room to grow in other areas. And, as we talk to a lot of couples, it might be like, hey, over 20 years, like we've gotten really good at communication. The problem is not with communication.
Yeah.
It's with desire or it's with pleasure. Yeah. And so it doesn't always make sense for a long established relationship to go back to the beginning necessarily. We want to figure out what's the area today that you could work on that's going to move the needle most for you.
So if you know me, you know that I love skincare. I am always interested in trying out new products and learning more about ingredients. So that's why I'm really excited to tell you about GoPure. They have a tighten and lift neck cream that I am about to check out. I don't know if most people know this, but the skin on your neck is thinner, more delicate, and less oily than facial skin. So it really needs specialized care. And this was a mistake that I made in like all of my 20s and most of my 30s, is really neglecting the neck. Like I was so focused on the face, but didn't really extend the skincare down to the neck. But GoPure's proprietary firming complex is designed to visibly firm and smooth the skin on your neck and chest in as little as 4 to 8 weeks. In a consumer study, 100% of users said their skin looked more supple and 97% noticed a firmer appearance. It's dermatologist recommended, cruelty-free, paraben-free, sulfate-free. With over 1 million jars sold, this beauty secret is no longer a secret. For a limited time, our listeners get 25% off GoPure with code PILLOW at checkout. Just go to gopurebeauty.com/pillow, use code PILLOW, and you're all set. And after you buy, do us a favor. When they ask where you heard about GoPure, tell them that it was from our show. Okay, so let's start playing her voice note, and we're going to pause it throughout to like jump in and share some of our thoughts.
Intimacy in our relationship overall. I think that in particular, I really focus on making sure there's small amounts of touch every day. Some of it is definitely done pretty consistently on my part, subconsciously and just naturally, whether it's making sure that I, touch back when I walk by in the kitchen or while we're getting the kids ready in the morning. But I think I'm also much more focused than he is on some of the little things like trying to make sure, I give him a kiss before I leave the room, or holding hands. I think inconsistent about whether or not he consciously tries to engage. I'm definitely the more physical of the two of us naturally in minor ways. And so I think that that's something that we haven't really talked about but could focus on more. As far as an average sexual experience, I would say when we're on, we're on. Our chemistry is great. We're pretty good about listening to what the other needs. Most often, we both work best if takes the lead.
Okay, I'm going to stop it here. Okay, so I wanted to stop it in this particular point because that sentence, he feels it's best when he takes, like we both feel it's best when he takes the lead. That stuck out at me.
Yeah, because I don't think she didn't say he feels it. Like she said, we do.
We
right?
both. Yeah, we both do best when he's in the lead. And to me, that feels like a lot of pressure. Most male-female couples will have that same script in their head. Like, oh yeah, it just works better when he's in the lead. Because that's what we've been taught. Like, the man's always supposed to be in control. He's the one who initiates. He's in control in the moment itself. And a lot of us like just think that that's how it's supposed to work. But that puts a lot of pressure on the guy to be fully responsible for their sex life. And a lot of guys respond to that by drawing back, by starting to lose their desire, by not initiating as much. So I would definitely want to ask him, like, are you sure you like it best when you take the lead?
Yeah, no, I mean, question for you, Vanessa, because I think this is, if I'm rewinding our relationship a bit, I think we were in a similar situation to this. There was a period of time where, my sex drive appeared to be much lower than yours. And, you had a couple situations with initiation, where the rejection didn't feel good. And we got into a similar pattern where it was like, okay, well, you want it more than I do. So it makes sense for me to be initiating so that you don't have to be getting like turned down. The assumption is, oh, well, whenever I initiate, you're going to be open to it. And I wonder, I mean, did you kind of fall into that, that line of thinking, oh, well, it's better if he takes the lead?
For sure.
I just think that's so common. And and it took me a long time to realize, oh yeah, that does put a lot of pressure on me. And it puts a lot of pressure on me because, there might be times where I might think about initiating or think like, oh yeah, sex could be nice. But then it feels like, okay, well, if I'm not wildly turned on, if I don't feel like I can promise you with 100% confidence that this is going to be great, then I would kind of feel like, ooh, maybe I shouldn't, because it would be even worse if I initiate and we try and it like doesn't go that well. Then it feels like, oh man, then I've totally failed, rather than, hey, like we're doing it together. We both initiate and sometimes it doesn't go, whatever. It doesn't matter. We'll try again tomorrow. It felt, the stakes felt so high and that sucks.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue.
I will say one of his greatest strengths is that he's very good at listening to or following the cues from my body and making sure that my needs are satisfied.
Go husband. So this is a perfect example. Like, it sounds like this couple does not really need help in the pleasure category. Like, that key seems pretty solid for them.
Yeah, I think that probably answers that question. I don't know how much detail is needed, and should probably add that I'm really terrible about voice memos and talking to myself, which maybe makes us a terrible candidate for the exercise.
Okay, I just have to pause it there too, because this was one of the parts where I was like, oh, but this is so fascinating. Just getting to hear that discomfort in her voice, and it's so normalizing for me that so many of us struggle with this. Like, even with us saying, give us as much detail as you can. The more detail, the better. We want you to walk us through like a typical sexual experience for you. There's still this like, I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, and also
I just love hearing that. It just feels so humanizing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I mean, also, we're obviously reading between the lines a little bit when she's saying he's really good at picking up on the cues of my body. Like, I'm pretty sure what she's trying to say is that he prioritizes my orgasm. Like I come consistently when we have sex, that's really great. And that's like, misaligned orgasms or orgasmic timing or, orgasm gap is not an issue in our relationship.
Did you know that millions of Americans grind or clench their teeth at night and most don't even know they're doing it?
I'm one of them.
I am also one of them. My dentist had to tell me, like, did you know you grind your teeth?
My dentist had to tell me for a long time, repeatedly in my 20s before I believed it. And God, I wish that I had listened sooner.
So the solution to protecting your teeth is a mouth guard, but mouth guards from the dentist can cost you like $500 to $800.
Yep.
So a lot of people are hesitant to do anything about it, even if their dentist is telling them all the dangers that teeth grinding can cause. Now, the good news is that there is Remy. Remy makes dental grade, professional quality mouth guards without the painful price tag. They are up to 80% cheaper than what you'd pay at the dentist, and they don't require you to visit a dental office. The process is super simple. They just send you an at-home impression kit to create molds of your teeth. You send them back to Remy. Their dental team will make your custom fit guards and send them right back to you. Xander and I are both on a dental teeth straightening journey right now, but as soon as we are done with that, we are going to use Remy's mouth guards, and we're super excited.
Yeah, I mean, this is so easy. I so wish that this had been available to me in my early 20s when I was struggling. I went through years and years of bad impacts from the clenching and the grinding in terms of gum recession and pain. And man, I just wish that this had been there then.
So Remy is for anyone dealing with nighttime grinding, clenching, or jaw pain who wants an affordable solution to protect their smile and say goodnight to jaw pain and headaches. Head to shopremy.com/pillow and use code PILLOW to save up to 50%. That's 50% off at REMI.com/pillow with code PILLOW. Give your teeth a break without breaking the bank with Remy. Thank you, Remy, for sponsoring this episode. All right, let's continue.
Let's see, what problems or issues do you have with your sex life and what do you want to change? I think the biggest issue is both a combination of frequency and consistency, and a mismatched drive. I have a much higher sex drive than does at this point in our relationship. That has shifted at different points. We've been together for a long time. But I think a big piece of it is that when is stressed or overtired, the last thing he wants is any sort of physical connection, sexually or otherwise, whereas it's a really important release for me. And so trying to find the balance for the two of us has been really hard. And on top of that, as a result, it means that I'm often the one trying to initiate, and the frequency with which I have been turned down became something that I internalized, and I, not in the moment, can realize that it's not a rejection of me and who I am and his attraction to me, but depending on my confidence levels in the moment, it's really done a number, and then it also makes me really hesitant to continue to initiate if the answer is always going to be shot down. And then also very much internalized that it means if he initiates, even though he has never verbalized this and would absolutely say that it's not correct, I feel like I can't say no, because then I don't know when the next time we're going to be have a sexual experience together.
Okay, so much there. So first, like, she's saying she has a higher sex drive than him, which I wanted to pause to normalize that. We all have this sexual script in our heads that the man's supposed to be the one that wants it more. But when we've polled our community, 45% of people said that in their, like, in male-female relationships, in their relationship, the woman was the one with higher desire.
In the current season of their relationship,
Yeah.
which I think is really important to note, because I love how she calls out that it
she
has
did.
shifted over time. And I think that's a hard one when couples get into a certain dynamic. It's just like, you have a low sex drive, I have a high sex drive, rather than considering right now this is what the situation is. And the situation will does change and will change over the years. That's certainly been true in our relationship, and that's really been true in most relationships that we've where we've talked to couples who've been in a relationship for a long time.
It also makes me wonder if he has responsive desire.
Yeah.
That's another thing to look at as well. And I think about for him, like it makes perfect sense if he's stressed and tired that he doesn't want to have sex. Like stress is the number one sex drive killer. And so many of us hate acknowledging that because we've really normalized stress. We're like, yeah, I know I need to decrease my stress, whatever. But we, like in a lot of ways, we kind of get off on the stress, or we at the very least feel like that's just what life is like. Life is stressful.
And I think that we also, in TV and in the movies, we do often see sex portrayed as like as a stress reliever. I think that we see that more often than not. And unfortunately, in this situation, for his partner, she is saying that for her, sex is a stress reliever. So she kind of portrays the like typical, like what you might typically assume, like, oh yeah, when you're stressed, like, yeah, having sex is great because it's going to relieve my stress. And for some people it does, but I think the vast majority of people, sex is not actually a stress reliever. It's like, if I'm super stressed, sex is the last thing that I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about how do I get done all the things that I need to get done, so that like, how do I do whatever I need to do to not be so stressed?
Yeah. So I'm already getting the sense that for this couple, the primary key for them to work on is desire, because desire is going to cover sex drive types. It's going to cover how to navigate mismatched desire. And it's especially going to cover how to navigate being turned down by your partner, how to initiate and how to navigate being turned down. And the middle step too, like if you're the one being initiated, how to consider whether or not you're going to say yes, no, suggest something different. That is all covered in our desire key.
And also kind of how to keep a simmer going in between periods.
Okay, let's keep going.
We've tried talking some, but I think part of why I was so excited about this opportunity is because when I showed the call for couples, he actually seemed interested, and we've talked about therapy in the past, and he's been very resistant to it or allowing someone else into our space and to work with us. And so we've only really tried things on our own. And I think something that would really make a difference for us is being able to have a third party assist and kind of give feedback, especially from a professional. I don't know what our ideal sex life looks like, other than probably a better communication and initiation style for both of us, so that it doesn't spiral into an internalized rejection and all of the things that come from that. So it's not necessarily number of times as a set number, but probably a bit more consistency, which again, it's less about the frequency and more about all of the negative consequences and that come along with rejection. I think that also kind of goes back to the problems and issues in our sex life and our average sexual experiences, that when we do actually have sex and or going back to the term sexual experience, we have great chemistry, and even in average experience for us, I would say both of us are really experiencing pleasure. It's just trying to figure out how to connect on a more consistent basis. And going through phases of feeling like roommates, but it's more than that, because it's about not feeling able to engage. And I don't know if I have any other questions top of mind, but I'm excited to even have the opportunity to put some of these very vulnerable points into a memo and go from there, even if it just means that the two of us have taken this opportunity to exchange voice notes and think about how to take a step at least towards improving our physical connection and hopefully our intimacy too.
Okay, I had to leave that last part in there because I think it just shows you the power of talking about this stuff openly.
Yeah.
Like she was just saying, like, even if this is all that this is, it's just me making this voice note, like this will have been helpful. So I had to leave that in there. But one last thought that I got from her voice note is they need to come up with some goals for their sex life. This is something that we see all the time. Like every couple will tell us we want to have a great sex life. But when we ask them, what does that mean to you? It's like deer in the headlights. I don't know, like a great sex life. But a great sex life is so unique, so variable for every couple. So spending a little bit of time thinking about that would be a really great exercise. Okay, let's go into the husband's voice note. I have to call out right from the beginning here. Hers was 8 minutes. His is half that length. It just feels very like stereotypical male, female. Well, let's listen to his.
Intimacy in our relationship overall, not the best. Like I could be better at it for whatever reason. Can be kind of standoffish. Don't necessarily like. I go through phases where I don't necessarily like physical touch for whatever reason. No real reason for it that I can pinpoint. And then I'll go through phases where I'm all fine. So it just, I guess, kind of depends.
I'm super interested about that. Like, what is the standoffishness for him? Like, we don't have to be in great moods all the time, but like, what is coming up for him when he's feeling standoffish? And to me, standoffish feels like that's somebody who doesn't know how to express needs and boundaries. Like somebody who doesn't know how to say like, hey, I'm in a really crappy mood. You know what? I'm going to go hit the gym. Or even understanding like, I have a long day at work, so I need to go to the gym afterwards, or I need to take a walk afterwards, or I need to come home and putter around in the garage, or whatever it is, like creating some sort of transition ritual for himself.
Yeah, or just, not knowing how to express whatever other emotions they're feeling. I think standoffish can be a kind of like, oh, this is a term that other people use to describe the result of what might be going on for me internally. Like it's a physical manifestation of something going on for me internally, but what actually is going on internally? Like he's describing the result. I appear standoffish to other people. I don't want to be touched, but I want to know what's going on the inside. Are what emotions are behind that, or is it just like you were describing, where it's like, I'm overwhelmed, I'm really stressed, and I need to be able to express that so that I can take action to do things that I know are going to improve that. I will say the fact that he himself is calling out immediately, I can be standoffish, I can not want touch at certain times. To me, that's super encouraging, because I think a real problem, like a really significant problem that many couples will have, is one partner goes, oh yeah, like my partner gets really grumpy or whatever, and it's like I can't connect with them, and the other partner will not acknowledge that that's going on. They're like, oh yeah, no, like my partner, comes at me in a certain way and I don't like it. Or, it's like, instead of acknowledging, oh, this is like a challenge that I have. It's sort of, oh no, like the other person is the problem. The world is the problem. It's pointing at all these other things and not being willing to look internally at what's going on. He's already taken the first step here by being like, this thing happens to me. I don't necessarily like it. It happens to me and I don't really know what to do. So let's talk about what you can do to further investigate that. Yeah.
And I really want to help him learn how to better communicate that to her, because she said at the very beginning of her voice note, like, I'm always trying to be intentional about like touching him and making those moments of connection. And my hunch is that he's probably getting pretty annoyed at a lot of those attempts, but he's not telling her that.
Or at least he's not open. At least he's not open, I'm guessing, when he feels that way. And so she's kind of taking this blanket approach, like, oh, let me do as much as I can in all the times that I can.
Which I think is great. Like, she's making such an effort, but she's not getting the feedback. And if we could share with him some gentle ways to communicate to her, like what his needs are, what he's open to or not open to, I think that would make a really big difference. And it wouldn't leave him kind of stewing in this, like, I don't want to be touched. Now I'm getting really standoffish.
I would also love to know what his love language is, because she's very clear. Like, she's talked a lot about physical touch. She likes to touch him as much as possible. She said that she loves to be touched as much as possible. I think it's highly likely that she is a physical touch type. And so she is trying to show love to him in the way that she knows, which is touch. I would suspect that he is not a primary physical touch type of person. And so I'm not telling her that she shouldn't touch him ever, but I do wonder if she could better understand, what is the way that he really feels love from me the most. And she might want to try shifting a bit to be, instead of just like, what is every opportunity I can take to touch him, thinking, oh, okay, like if he's like a words of affirmation type, let me think about trying to like, do something that feels unnatural to me and give him a bunch of compliments or nice things, or, whatever his love language is. I think that would be another great first step, rather than being like, yeah, I'm doing everything I can touching.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue on.
Average experience usually starts with kissing, sometimes surprise, but usually starts with some kind of kissing and building up. And then kind of progresses from there. Sometimes it can be aggressive. Sometimes it's more intimate. That's probably the best way to describe it.
I'll just pause this there and say, like, that is the little sign that he could use some help in the communication key as well. I think most, like, your average person, if you ask them to describe their average sexual experience, would probably respond like this. Like, you can feel the hesitation, the nervousness. He doesn't really share hardly any detail.
Yeah, there's no detail about the how. Like, how does it feel? What is it like for us? He went to the details.
There's kissing. And then sometimes it's intense, sometimes it's not.
And then it progresses.
Yeah. And I don't want to, make him feel ashamed or embarrassed about that, because I think that is how the average person would respond. They would feel really uncomfortable and embarrassed. So this is very common, but it is so important for us to learn how to get more comfortable talking about it openly. That's why we're here. That's why we have a business in the first place, but I just had to call that one out. So if you're watching the podcast on video, you may see that we've changed up our recording location. We're recording in our office now, which means that I don't get to be draped in all of my delightful Cozy Earth bedding while we are recording. That's really the saddest part of making this change. So if you haven't heard of Cozy Earth before, they make incredible luxury linens. They have sheet sets that are temperature regulating. Seriously, the most buttery, soft fabric you've ever felt. They also make incredible luxe bath sheets, like super oversized, super plush, super soft. If you're somebody who just loves softness, like you just can't get enough soft, you will love everything that Cozy Earth makes. They also make clothing too. You can literally just be Cozy Earth cozied all day long and all night long. They also have a 100-night sleep trial and a 10-year warranty on all their bedding and bath products. So there's really nothing to lose by giving them a try. Luxury should not be out of reach. Visit CozyEarth.com and use our exclusive code PillowTalks for 40% off best-selling sheets, towels, pajamas, and more. That's code PillowTalks for 40% off at CozyEarth.com. And if you get a post-purchase survey, let them know you heard about Cozy Earth right here. Okay, let's continue.
Problems or issues. It's mainly me. I go through phases where I just don't want to.
Yeah, it's like you can feel the responsibility that he's putting on himself. Like, it's mainly me. Like, it's my fault. I'm the problem here. And I do think that I just think it's coming down to being unable to express himself. Because when we feel like we can't tell our partner openly like what we're thinking and feeling, it bubbles up inside of us, and that turns into things like standoffishness and resentment and frustration. It's like we don't know how to healthily share that. So, but those feelings are going to come out one way or another.
Yeah, or it just kind of turns into like the resignation you hear in his voice. Yeah, I guess I'm the problem.
Yeah.
I just don't want it sometimes. And yeah, like, yes, in some ways he is right. There are absolutely things that he could work on that could probably, increase his sex drive or decrease those feelings of standoffishness and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's never just one person's problem. Like, this is a couple's problem, and there are things that both of them could do. And so, yeah, I've been there myself. Where it's just like, I'm the problem. It's me. And like, I just have to change. And when you come at a problem with that perspective, it just feels impossible. It feels totally impossible, and it just feels so easy to give up and be like, okay, well, can we just find a way to make it okay enough as is? And I lived that reality for so many years, and it sucked. It really sucked.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue on.
Click or something, like I don't know. It's usually the times where I am standoffish. Don't really want to be touched for whatever reason. Would basically like to be more in the mood, I guess, be more communicative of things and how I'm feeling.
So that's interesting. Like, I think that they actually are more in alignment than they realize. Like, I think they want the same thing.
Yeah,
he wants to be feeling more desire. He wants to be connecting with her more. He wants to feel closer to her. Like, they're kind of wanting the same thing.
Yeah, this is absolutely not a situation. And we hear this type of other situation all the time, where one partner goes, I would love sex to be happening way more. And the other partner is, I'm totally happy with the way things are. I don't think that there's a problem. The problem is my partner with the higher sex drive.
Yeah.
And this is absolutely not what's happening in this situation. It sounds like they're both completely on the same page about what they're wanting. They're just noticing there are some things getting in the way. I would also be really curious for him to think about, when I am feeling standoffish, when I am feeling not open to touch, what is it that I am wanting in those moments from my partner, if anything? I would be really curious about that, because I can totally see how if your partner is a physical touch first person, and you don't want physical touch, it can totally feel to them like they just don't want anything to do with me. Yeah. But I would be really curious for him, like, yeah, when he's feeling that way, does he just want to be totally alone? Like, I don't want anyone to bother me. I just want to be alone. Because like that might imply one thing where it's like, hey, maybe you should go to some you might want to consider some individual therapy, talking about like, yeah, is there something going on with me mentally where, I might need some support on my own, where it's like, hey, I have these ups and downs that are kind of uncontrollable, and like, I need some tools to address that. Or is it that he's like, yeah, I don't want physical touch, but like, I would love for my partner to ask me like, how was your day? Or like, how are like someone to kind of coax some communication out of me? Or, am I looking, like what type of support am I looking for? Am I looking for some help? Am I looking for, what is it? Because I wonder if they're just missing each other. Is she's thinking, oh, like touch, that's how we get close. That's how I feel better. But it's definitely not how he feels better. So I would be really curious if he could consider what is going on for him. Do I just totally want to be alone, or is there something else actually that would feel supportive from my partner? Because there very well might be. Yeah. And that would be so huge for her to know. That's why I say, like, there's, things for both of us to work on. It's like she very well may have been she may be approaching him in the wrong way for all of these years. She's coming at it with a touch first perspective, and that's just not his perspective.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue.
I haven't done a lot because I haven't engaged with it a lot. Again, that's my fault to try to fix things. Tried listening and things, but for whatever reason, it just doesn't click for me as well. Ideal sex life, not just more, but more consistently. We'll go through phases where it will be, 4 or 5 times a week for a couple weeks, and then we're in the middle of a couple months off at this point now. That some of that for this particular spell isn't our fault. She's been sick for weeks and had rib damage from coughing so much, and I've been sick, and the kids have been sick. So this spell I can't really pin on me, her, or anything in between. We just haven't been healthy, essentially. But usually I would say, not to lay blame, but usually I would say it's my fault. Just never in the mood or tired or.
How many different times has he said, it's my fault, it's my fault, it's my fault?
That's why I was saying before,
Yeah.
it's that's the resignation.
My heart goes out to this guy.
I hear myself in what he's saying.
Dang. Okay.
Other than, more and consistent, exploring more of what each of us is into would be on the list of ideal things as well. Yeah, I think that is everything.
Whew. Oh my God. That was so fascinating to go through that. And I'm also I'm looking at the time and realizing we were going to go through 3 different stories, but we took up the entire time on this one. But I hope it was really valuable and interesting, getting to hear about this couple's challenges, some of the ideas and strategies, suggestions that we have for them. The idea that them focusing on that desire key, I think that's going to really be the most useful thing for them.
We're going to have to do the other ones in future
let
episodes.
us know if you enjoyed this. Please come over to Instagram at Vanessa and Xander and let us know if you enjoyed this, because we've got 2 other great stories that we'd absolutely could go over in the same sort of way. So let us know. So like I was saying earlier, doing this feels so valuable to me because it helps us recognize that there are things that we can do. It's okay if you're in a place of feeling stuck, feeling yourself start to shut down, but we really want to share with you that there are things that you can do to get your relationship to the place that you've always wanted it to have that intimacy that you've always wanted to have.
Yeah, and you can figure out which of these 5 areas should I start with.
The reality is relationships are one of the most important parts of our lives. There's actually been some really fascinating research coming out lately showing that our relationships affect our overall well-being, our lifespan, our health. It's absolutely wild. Our relationships
romantic and non-romantic. But we spend the vast majority of our time, if you're in a romantic relationship, that's the biggest relationship.
Yeah, but because we've never been exposed to these kinds of tools and resources, most of us don't actually do much to improve our relationships, to make them better. It's not because we don't want to, it's just because we don't know what to do.
Right. I mean, it's that things could be better and you feel that. But like I was saying before, where do you even start? There's so many things. And in most relationships, it's also hey, things aren't really that bad. We're not fighting all the time. We're not on the verge of divorce or breakup. So what are we supposed to do? I think most of us think that it's only in those big rupture moments that we have to take, that really significant or serious action. So yeah, if things aren't that bad, what do you do? Therapy is great, but it's not always the right fit for every season of your relationship. And most people don't want to be in therapy nonstop throughout their relationship.
So helping people improve their relationships, have the intimacy they've always wanted, that has always been our mission, our passion. That's the thing that we've been working on for years now. But over the last couple of months, honestly, more like even a year, we've been realizing like we create these really amazing guides and courses, but the way that our business has worked until now is it's kind of this one-off experience. Like you buy one guide, one course from us, and then you're kind of on your own. Like go through it, do it on your own time. And like, yes, that's convenient and that's nice that you get to do it on your own time, but there hasn't been a way for us to have any sort of accountability, motivation, check in with you. And so for a long time, we have been brainstorming, how can we do this differently? Because we're not interested in just sending people off for a weekend. Like just try a couple of these tips. Yeah, then your life is going to happen. You're going to forget about it. Like what we are really interested in is deep, ongoing, lasting transformation.
Yeah, we want to keep working with you. We want to keep making things better.
Because relationships aren't one and done. It's not like you go on one date night and you're good for 40 years, or like you have one night of hot sex and you're good for the rest of your relationship. Like we have to keep working on it. So that is why we are so excited to tell you about something brand new that we have created that we think is going to be an absolute game changer. And it is called Deeper.
That's right. Go deeper, baby.
Go deeper with us. It is a brand new experience, a membership, a community, honestly, not to toot our own horns too much, but like I think that this is really going to be a groundbreaking way for couples to create that intimacy that they've always wanted. And I'll also be honest, like part of the reason that we created this in the first place is because this is something that we wanted in different stages of our relationship.
We needed
too.
it.
Yeah.
We needed it. We mucked around for years and years. And something like this would have just been like, boom, like that straight, do not pass, or wait, no, that's what I was going to say.
What?
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. But I mean, it is. It's like, boom, all the way around the
Pass go.
Monopoly board. Pass go. Get that $200.
So we wanted to create something that gives you ongoing bite-sized ways to keep your relationship growing. Because if our relationships aren't growing, we're dying. That's the phrase, right? If you're not growing, you're dying.
I mean, it's kind of pessimistic, but yes.
Yeah. Well, we wanted to help you continue investing in your relationship in these, like, again, bite-sized ways, not hey, go for a 2-week couples vacation. This is like, what are these little small things that we can do on a daily basis? So whether you're looking to improve communication, deepen that emotional intimacy, just bring back that playful spark that you used to have.
So yeah, like I was mentioning before, over the years that we've worked with thousands of couples and created all these resources, these guides, these courses, hearing from so many people in long-term relationships, we did come to realize that everything that we teach comes back to these 5 key areas that we think make up a thriving relationship and a thriving sex life. And so it's communication, like knowing how to actually talk and listen to each other. Connection, like feeling like you're truly being seen and appreciated, and you know how to do that for your partner as well. Then desire, so keeping the spark alive even when life gets really busy, because life does get busy. Pleasure, making intimacy feel really good for both of you. And then exploration, so that's like growing together and keeping things exciting.
And that's what Deeper is all about. So we use this brand new quiz that we came up with, which is totally free, to help you figure out which of these 5 areas needs the most attention right now. And then within the membership Deeper, we give you the tools to improve that key and then all the other keys. But we really want to point out like a specific starting point.
Yeah, let's get you started with the one that's going to make the most difference today.
Yeah. And all the techniques in there are practical and fun. This is not overwhelming. It's not intimidating.
And on top of that, you also will get instant access to our entire core curriculum library so that you can jump into whatever courses or guides of ours you need whenever you need it. Because I think the reality with this type of stuff is that, yeah, you have some challenge that is coming up today. You address that, but who knows what's going to come up a couple weeks from now or a couple of months from now. There's no like predefined journey of like, here are all the challenges that couples go through. Who knows what's going to come up? So it's so nice to just have like everything available to you all at once for whenever you need that thing. So whether you're looking to work on communication, reigniting desire, or just looking for some fresh inspiration, it is all there, all on demand.
And now this is where it gets really cool and totally unique.
Yeah. Now make it high tech and exciting.
We built Vanessa AI.
She here. All right, honestly, this is so cool, and this is so hard to describe to people. I think people really have to see it, but I'm going to do my best here. So we have trained Vanessa AI on literally everything that Vanessa has ever taught, from all of our paid courses and guides to our podcast episodes, private Q&As, master classes that we've done. It knows everything.
So that means you can ask Vanessa AI anything at any time, and she will give you the answer that I would have given you. It's like having me in your back pocket, being able to call me up anytime, day or night, ask anything you want.
You can actually literally talk to her. You can literally call her and talk to her.
So there's like, it's mind-boggling what you can do with this, and this is why we like really need you to just like get in there and experience it and try it out. But like, you can ask, just ask it questions. You can ask for step-by-step strategies. You can ask for conversation prompts, like, my partner and I are at date night, we don't have anything to talk to each other about, like, give us some fun date prompts. You can ask for personalized plans, like, give me an 8-week plan for increasing my libido.
Yeah, I mean, you can even customize it to your situation, and it will remember who you are and know your situation. So you can tell it, hey, this is the type of relationship that I'm in. Here's how long it's been. Here's how many kids we have. Here's what we have tried. This worked well. Here's what doesn't work for us. You can even be like, okay, so give me a 5-step thing to do over the next couple of weeks. And then you can come back and be like, you know what? So like that, the first one was a bit of a challenge. That didn't work so well. The third thing worked really great. Like, knowing all this, can you refine this into some more stuff to work on? So this isn't just like, give me 5 ways to do something. It'll give you 5 ways to do something. Then you can tell it what you think about it, and it will give you 5 new ways. It'll really, truly tailor it to your situation.
Or even things like, you don't know how to describe something to your partner. Like, there's something I want to talk to my partner about and I don't know how to, or my partner said this to me and I don't know how to respond. Like, it is just the level of detail that you can get into with Vanessa AI is truly astounding.
And I mean, we've been playing around with it. The reason we are giving it such a glowing review is because we have been in there asking for all these things, and it like, you can't tell when it's like a Vanessa AI answer versus something that you might have written. And the best part about the whole Vanessa AI thing is that it is completely private, because we know how vulnerable relationship and intimacy questions can feel. We could hear that in the voice. In the voices of the people whose voice notes that we were listening to. I mean, even some of our closest friends have told us that they've had things that they've wanted to ask us for years, and we're just too nervous until, like, they finally got up the courage, and we're like, oh my God, if we had talked about this a couple of years ago, we could have made such a big difference.
There are also so many other cool perks and features to our Deeper membership. Every month you'll get 2 date night ideas, one sweet, one spicy. So you always have something like fun and unique to do with your partner. You get tons of regular connection prompts and thought-provoking questions that you can ask each other, including a ton of would you rathers, because we know people love our would you rather questions. Every Tuesday when we post them on Instagram, people are like, don't make these disappear after 24 hours. I want to see a whole like repository of them. And you will get all the questions here. We also do monthly live double date calls. You can join live. It's anonymous and private, or you can watch the recording later, but we're going to let you guys pick certain topics that you want us to dive into even more deeper detail. And we'll just like hang out like friends going on a double date and like chat about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, sometimes we'll answer questions. Sometimes we'll go deep on a certain topic. Sometimes we'll do a combination of those two. Like that one is going to be really open to what the community who joins, like what it is that they want and what they're voting on.
And also there will be a private and confidential community forum so we can all start connecting with other couples who want more from their relationships.
And so we've put together a really special deal for what we're calling our founding members, the people who are our initial batch of people to join the Deeper community. And that founding member price, honestly, is going to be less than most of our courses and guides.
Because we're just building this out. I mean, we've been working on this for months, but this is the beginning of this membership. We know the people who are going to join as founding members, like you guys are our real, like real ride or die crew.
Ready to go right now.
You're ready to go. You're all in. And so we wanted to do something special to reward you.
Yeah, and plus we're going to continue to be adding so much to this. We have this to the point where we're like, yes, let's get some people in here. Let's start making progress. But yeah, we're going to be adding so much to it. So this is the time to get in, to lock in a price that, like, honestly, you won't be able to get it like this again. So to see what that is and to join yourself, go to vmtherapy.com/deeper.
Yeah, we are so excited about this. It's been such a long time in the making. I'm so excited to be able to finally share the news, and we are thrilled for you to get in there and to see the kind of impact that it can have on your relationship. So we'd love to see you in Deeper. That's vmtherapy.com/deeper. All right, well, that is all for this week's episode. Join us again next week. We release new episodes every Thursday.